this is Toni, and welcome to Action for Aging, where we're tackling life's most underestimated season with intentional action and a big dose of self-love. If it's your first time here and you're searching for a channel dedicated to this season of life, then welcome. This is your community. Please do me a favor and go ahead and hit that like button below. It helps me out, and it also helps our mature community to connect and find one another. I was thinking the other day about a friend of mine and a little encounter that we had. It was wonderful. It was when I worked in the airline industry, so this friend was a coworker of mine. He and I were down working at the gate, and who should happen along but one of my most favorite people in the world, and probably yours too, and that is the oh so lovely Miss Dolly Parton. Now, a quick story. My friend, he comes up with these really great ideas. He's the neatest person. He worked on, I believe it's pronounced a kibbutz in Israel, okay? Kind of like a Jewish community living communally together. We might say commune here in the United States. He did that. I want to say he said he was picking bananas there. I'm not sure I got that correct, but he was also a chef on a freighter on Lake Erie. When we boycotted the Olympics in the early 80s, and they were in Russia that year, he traveled to Russia and was photographed waving the United States flag in the crowd, and his picture was plastered over various newspapers all throughout the United States. So he's just kind of a neat guy. So we're working at the gate. Here comes Dolly Parton, and he asked her if she would, we had answering machines in those days. You young people don't know what those are, right? But that's what we had. And so he asked Dolly Parton if she would call his answering machine and leave a message on it that he could make into the recording, okay? So that when someone called his home and the answering machine went off, it was Dolly Parton. Do you know that sweet lady did that? She is so like, she is out to have some fun, right? So she did that. So when you would call his house, she would answer, and it said something like, hi, you've reached so-and-so. He can't come to the phone right now. We're out having some fun. So if you'll leave your name and number and so on. Was the coolest thing. She was just such a neat lady. So I was thinking about her, about those people in the mature community that I admire. The oh so graceful Betty White came to mind. Who does not love Betty White? Do you know she's beyond 95. I want to say she's 96 or 97. I just wanted to figure out what it was and is about Betty White that makes her so endearing. Why do we love her so much? I came up with a few things. What is it about Betty White that we can learn from? Number one, Betty recognizes her good fortune. She has been quoted as saying, how lucky can one broad get? Can't you just hear her say that? She had Mary Tyler Moore, she had Boston Legal, Hot in Cleveland, and of course our beloved Golden Girls, right? She is in the Guinness Book of World Records, guys. Isn't that so cool? She has the longest career in showbiz or in acting of any woman. 73 years and counting. What I love is that she recognizes the blessing. It is not something she takes for granted. It is not something that she's prideful about. We need to do the same, don't we? We need to recognize what our blessings are. Just to arrive at this point in life, knowing that so many people do not get the privilege of experiencing their more mature years, that in itself is a blessing to be recognized and counted. Number two, do what makes you the happiest. Betty comes across as a very polite lady, and I am certain that it is genuine and that we're drawn to that. However, she has said that she wants to pursue what makes her the happiest, not necessarily what others think is appropriate. So if you look at her when she's delivering some of her punchlines, she is having a good laugh. You can tell that she absolutely loves and enjoys what she does, and that she finds it funny. The punchlines that they've given her have struck a chord in her, and that she's having a great time with it. So Do what makes you happiest. Now, think about that for yourself. What is it that you could be doing that would make you the happiest? Number 3, find your voice. Betty White has definitely found hers over the years. She's an animal rights activist. She's very passionate about it. It's something that was instilled in her as a young child. Her parents would bring home stray animals and they would care for them at home. And that love has continued with Betty her whole life. She never had any children of her own. She does consider her stepchildren from one of her marriages to be an incredible blessing in her life, and she still has great relationships, from my understanding, with those stepchildren. But animals are her passion, and I know we've all seen the commercials that include that love and that passion. There is still time for you to lend your voice in some significant way. There are about 1 million ways, as we know, that we could possibly volunteer. In my case, I've lent my voice to foster parenting in the past. For 5 years, we were foster parents. Another thing that we've lent our voice to, my husband and I, is an Appalachian ministry that we felt led to support. We actually drove down to the ministry. It's about 6 hours from here, and we checked it out firsthand. My heart was moved in ways that I'm still struggling to understand and to put in context of my own life and how blessed that I am. And if you guys would like to hear more about that in a future episode, go ahead and leave a comment in the box below. There was something very specific, just brought me to a place of brokenness and let me know that yes, this is something that we want to do. So find that voice and lend that support. I just mentioned in my previous episode that my daughter went on a missions trip and she had to do a little bit of fundraising. They were going to be giving quarters to the homeless so that they can do laundry and get their clothes freshly laundered and be able to have something nice and clean to wear, just like you and I would. And she had an overabundance. She was able to raise above and beyond what she needed. So she took that abundance and she bought 2 gift cards from Walmart, and she's going to be providing those to our Appalachian ministry that we support. And so she shared that abundance with them, which I think is amazing as a young person to be able to lend your voice to a cause that you believe in. Number 4, Betty taught us that laughter really is the best medicine, didn't she? Oh my goodness, can she make us laugh? But here's the cool thing, guys. Betty doesn't believe that the mature community suddenly arrives at this point in life where we have to live up to the expectation, or should I say live down to the expectation, that we have to be sensible, or worse yet, boring. Her humor can be a little racy, a little randy, right? But she's having a good time, and she's not worrying about, if you've seen Hot in Cleveland, you know this is true. She's not worrying about living up to those boring expectations of what this season of life is supposed to be like. She's having a great time. She's laughing, and she's making us laugh in the process. And I absolutely love that about Betty, and I'm sure that you guys do too. Betty also did this show a couple of years back. It was called, I think it was called Off Our Rockers. Did you guys see that? Oh my gosh. If you have not seen it, Google it down. So what it was a reality show that was, check it out, Betty White's doing reality shows. I mean, can we love her anymore, right? So it was similar to the reality show Punked or Pranked. It takes mature community people basically pranking younger folks, okay? And it's hysterical. If you have not seen this, you tell me right now, you're gonna Google it, Off Their Rockers. If you need a good laugh, Betty White is guaranteed on this show to crack you up and make you laugh. We will always remember not only the ways that she made us laugh, but that she herself laughed. Be flexible still. When Betty White was hired for the Golden Girls, she was originally supposed to play Blanche, which was Rue's character, and Rue was supposed to play Rose. But when they got to rehearsing, they decided to make a swap. They asked Betty if she would go ahead and be Rose and let Rue go ahead and take the character of Blanche. And so they did that. Now try to imagine Golden Girls without Betty as Rose or Rue as Blanche. Like, I can't even picture that, and I'm sure you can't either. There's a favorite scripture of mine that states that in his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. I feel like God is telling me that that is something that I really needed to learn. I don't know if I'm late in arriving at the reality of the need to be flexible, or if this is just the season where our wisdom kicks in and the kinds of things that come up in our lives now show us and teach us that need. I wish I'd learned that sooner. I wish I was able to think that through when I was younger, instead of thinking that we have the control that we don't ultimately have, right? Life is going to do what it does, and it's up to us how we respond to it. So I'm curious, guys, I mentioned Dolly Parton, I mentioned Betty White. Who is it from the mature community that inspires you now? Go ahead and place that in the comments below. Also, if it's your first time here, I would ask you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button below, that red subscribe button. And there's a bell icon next to that. If you ring that bell, that's going to go ahead and just be sure that you don't miss any of my new content. I release that every Sunday night, sometime after 8 p.m. And I'm working to bring bonus videos to you throughout the week. So go ahead and check those out as well. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, I would ask you to do that. And as always, guys, please remember that you are special in this season right now. So act on it. Goodbye, friends.